Hey, good morning, everybody. It's great to be here with the great Jeff Green from SafeDefend, the founder and president of the company. Jeff, I got a question for you. We had an incident here. My family was really close to the incident because of friends and who we know. We had a student in late January, early February, walk into a school, brought a loaded firearm into a school. The school has metal detectors. The school has alarms on the door. And the young man got past all that, and the firearm ended up in the garbage can in his classroom. It was a pretty scary ordeal hearing about it after the fact. I've got a question, just straight up with SafeDefend. How do people get firearms into schools when you have metal detectors and alarms on the doors? I mean, this seems like it's happening more and more, and it seems like we keep kind of pushing it to the side. What am I missing?
Yeah, absolutely. No, metal detectors have always been a popular feel-good response. If we look at where metal detectors work, typically that's courthouses, that's the airport, that where those are very effective, and they are very effective in areas where there is one entry point that everyone has to go through, and it is always manned. And so being able to ensure that people go through into a courthouse, into the airport, everybody has to go through to get into that building. There's no other alternative ways to get to those areas. That's where they become effective. That's where they make a difference, and that's where they can really provide opportunities to stop that before coming in. If you look at how we design schools, the school environment, and really, I don't think we want to try to go away from how we operate with schools. But there is multiple ways to get into a school building. You have kids that go outside for recess or for gym or for PE. You have sports activities. Those kids would have to, in order for metal detectors to work, those kids would have to come back into the building through the metal detector and be scanned in order to keep it safe. Having open areas, open access points really just defeats the entire purpose of the metal detector. And anybody coming in alternate doors are going to be able to get a weapon inside that school if they so desire. I would guess that somebody came in through a different entry point rather than through the metal detectors to get that weapon in. Many buildings have many schools have multiple buildings on campus. So kids have to transition day to day, get through to go to classes in another building on campus. There's just, if we want schools to be able to be, not feel prison-esque or courthouse-esque, be able to have kids go to different programs in different buildings, metal detectors are not going to be the option to secure our schools.
So what is the option, Jeff? How do we keep these kids safe?
Yeah. So, high deterrence, high factors of threat assessment and identifying. Those are the two best ways to prevent it right out of the gate, right? Prevention is absolutely the best bet that we have. And if we can't prevent it, then we've got to be able to respond effectively. We just did a training in Cincinnati, and overwhelmingly, the teachers came back and said, I feel like I have the options to protect my kiddos. And you've got to be able to give people in that crisis moment that ability to respond, to manage that crisis. And again, we say it over and over again, but stay alive till help arrives, right? They need to keep their kiddos alive. They need to keep themselves alive. And that can be done very effectively with the way that we still want to operate our schools, which is allow kids to be able to get access to all the programs they want, which maybe in a multi-building campus, be able to be in a safe environment no matter where they are. That can be done very effectively.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Again, we talk about it. I've been on SafeDefend Live for a couple of years now talking about this. And when you have somebody that's close to you that has to deal with that at their school as a teacher, it's frightening. It is eye-opening, especially when they're bragging about how secure the school is. Our state has to do a better job. Oklahoma has to do a better job with taking care of the schools, making sure they have what they need, not play politics, not give deals to their best friend. I mean, I'm sure every state's like that, but I feel like because I live here and now that I'm living through it, I can look at all the things that have been done that are not helpful, that we've got to get past as a state.
And not only to that point, just kind of back to the, where metal detectors leave us very vulnerable. And this goes back to, we've had a lot of conversations about situational awareness. We've had a lot of conversations about knowing where you are, knowing your environment. If you think about it, metal detectors create a choke point. And kids coming into that building have to go through and be scanned, which means several are potentially out in a fairly confined area. If you look at concerts, if you look at sporting events, you look at how we have to go through. Once we get inside, it's probably very safe to be inside. But if you really wanted to do a lot of harm, you're going to have a lot of people in a confined area trying to get into that building that can't really go anywhere. And so, you run that risk as well. And I say that not as to elevate the scariness factor, but as much as a situational awareness factor. Whenever you're going into any of these environments, put yourself in a position where, if God forbid somebody wanted to do bad things, you were in a position to get yourself to the safest possible situation going in there. That doesn't mean don't go to sporting events, don't go to concerts, don't have ways to help ensure environments are safe once you're inside. But be aware that you're probably way more vulnerable waiting to get in than you are once you're inside.
No, that's a fact. I mean, you build choke points, you build a fire lane for somebody that wants to do bad stuff. I mean, the Vegas concert a couple of years ago, where all those people were there and had no place to go, an outdoor venue deal. I mean, time and time again, we keep learning the same lessons. People go, we're going to get video cameras, we're going to get, metal detectors, we're going to get, post-mortem. A video camera is great. You can find out, where they were when they did it. It's great evidence. Don't know how much it does to prevent it unless you have active control and real-time communication, which that's almost impossible.
The deterrence and identification of potential threats is the absolute best option we have. But when that fails, we've got to be secure in how we manage a crisis. And if you look at all of the items that are out there, all of the different options that are available to schools, I mean, yes, I'm biased because I'm founded this company, but I founded it for a very specific reason, because it will make a difference being able to protect your kids and yourself in your classroom. And we're the only ones that are in that position.
Yeah, SafeDefend's a pretty cool company. And the thing that people need to remember, there's 3 pieces to securing your school and being smart. There's left of bang, prepare. There's the notification when something happens, so everybody knows something's going on. And then there's defending the threshold, protect, prepare, notify, protect. If your solution does not have those 3, if you are not assessing the threat before anything ever happens, you're failing. If you don't have a systematic notification system, you are going to fail. If you don't have a way to defend the threshold when the event does happen and protect your students, you are going to fail. People are going to die. Innocent people could have been saved.
Well, we see it over and over again. If you really look at the other options that are out there, if it's notification alone, it is just not enough. It is notification systems have been in every active shooter in a school that we've had over the last 5 years. And most of the systems that are out there have failed at some point to protect students, whether it's lanyard-based systems, whether it's obviously we just saw metal detectors get defeated, right in your backyard. And so the failure points in all of these systems are what puts lives at risk. That's why, SafeDefend separates itself from all of those. And it is this company that's going to make a difference.
Well, if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, just realize SafeDefend is the best option to keep your kids safe. And if you're a parent and you're not at the school board meeting telling them to get SafeDefend in their school, you need to be. If you're a teacher and you're not telling your administration you need this in your school, you need to be. If you're an administrator and the superintendent isn't listening, talk louder.
Well, and and we've partnered with a company that does grant writing for safety solutions, that we can help schools offset the costs, and in many cases substantially, to be able to bring this in. So we're really excited about that. That's a new piece for us to be able to help schools navigate the financial cost. The money is no longer an issue. We can get the money to help your school.
That is great news. That is great news, Jeff. So with that, this episode of Safe Defend Live, we are out of here.
Have a great weekend.